Here's the situation. We have a passed pawn, which we would like to push and become a queen, of course. But black has a bishop, and they are going to try to sacrifice for the pawn to prevent us from doing that. And of course, if we let that happen, we can't win with just a bishop and a king against a king. We have to prevent the bishop from sacrificing itself. Easier said than done. Before I say too much, if you'd like to pause, feel free. What do you think the winning move is? Although I have to warn you, I've been looking at this position for the last 20 minutes, looking at the solution, and I'm still not sure I fully understand everything. So just keep that in mind. This is a very difficult position to understand. All right, well, if you had a chance to look at that, the winning move is c6. And I believe that one of the reasons here is we need to get this pawn to c7 as quickly as we can, because then the bishop is definitely tied down to stopping it. Whereas if we wait and allow the bishop to stop it here, it gives black more options essentially. So if we play a move like this, black can actually draw now after bishop to b5. They stop it this way. And remember, even though we can come up and support it, it doesn't matter because all they have to do is sacrifice it. And so we would have to figure out a way to get rid of the bishop from defending this square. And apparently that's harder to do than if the bishop is only defending this square. I think it has to do with how many options the bishop has, is what I'm sort of understanding. So with that in mind, the winning move is c6 because now the bishop can never chase it down on this square. It's too late. We can always push it to c7, right? You can't go here, obviously, because we just take it, and this doesn't really do anything. We just move forward, okay? The other interesting thing about this is if the king tries to come up like this to box our king out, with the idea that it can come up here and eventually take the pawn, what do we play now? We actually have a nice move here on king to d3. Well, if you had a chance to look at that, it's c7. That's correct. And notice by going here, black has actually blocked their own bishop from stopping our pawn. And if they try to come this way, we simply box it out, right? We block it off, they could trade, and then we get the queen and we win. Pretty straightforward. So black can't box our king out like that. They have to, if they want to try to chase the pawn down, they have to go to c3 instead. And now it's our turn. What do we play? There's only one winning move in this position. Got a chance to look at that. The move is c7. You have to push the pawn right now. And this is one of the moments that's kind of confusing to me because I would think like we could do it later and still probably win. But one point here is that we would like to bring our king closer, right? But if we go here now, apparently it just doesn't work. The king comes up, and if you follow this out, the king comes up, and now we push. It's a draw. It's a draw. And that's what's weird to me because this position looks very similar to what we're going to see later in the puzzle when it's not a draw. So maybe somebody who's watching this can explain to me in the comments, like, why exactly is it different? Because I wasn't able to really notice it from my, earlier when I was looking at this. Anyway, that being said, the only winning move is not bringing the king, not doing anything with the bishop. It's pushing the pawn. You have to push the pawn right now. Okay, c7. And now you've essentially tied down black's bishop for the rest of the puzzle to stop this. Because if the bishop ever does not do that, we just get a queen and we win, right? Okay, so what is black going to do? Obviously, they're not going to go here because we would just cut it off and they lose. But they can go bishop to a6. And of course, like I said, the problem is even if we go here to defend that and support our pawn, it doesn't matter. They're willing to give up the bishop, like I mentioned, okay? So what do? White to play and win. This is another moment in the puzzle that kind of hurts my brain a little bit. But white to play and win, and there's only one winning move. Well, if you had a chance to look at that, the only winning move is king to e3. And there's something going on here, which, again, this is what I'm not really able to wrap my mind around. There's something going on here of why we need to get this opposition, I think, because otherwise it makes more sense to me that we would go to e4, right? Like we're trying to get closer to the pawn. Why wouldn't we just go here? And like I said, I think it has something to do with the opposition. I just don't exactly know what it is because black can't even go here because we have the skewer. So, like, why is this not a problem? Well, the draw is they could go check. And when we come up, they go, let's see, what is the draw? Here. And when we come up, they go here. And this is a drawn position for some reason. Okay, so let's compare this to what's going to happen in the main line, and maybe we can get a clue. But king to e3 is the only winning move. Okay, great. So what is black going to play? Well, they can't go here. They get skewered. They could play like maybe king b4 or move the bishop. So king b4, let's just say. And now what do we play here as white? And this is, again, another moment that kind of hurts my brain a little bit. White to play and win, only one move. We had a chance to look at that. The only winning move is bishop to e2. And again, I'm not entirely sure why. Because my logic is like, well, we started this process of bringing our king over and getting the opposition. Like, why not continue that with king to d4? But it's a draw as soon as you play that move. And the reason it's a draw is because king b5. And then if we, let's just say, come up, king b6, we come up, king b7, and then this is a draw. I don't really quite understand. Let's see, what's the move here? Black's just going to go back and forth, I guess, and we can't make progress. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind, I guess. I don't know. So going back here, the only winning move is not to do that, but to go bishop to e2. Bishop to e2, of course, they can't trade, or we get the queen, so that's fine. Bishop has to move somewhere that stops this. So really, black only has two options here. 1, 2. And then there's a long line of moves for both of these options for black where we can win the game. So let's just pick one at random here. Let's start with bishop c8. Why not? So bishop c8. Okay, what do we do? Again, only one winning move. White to play and win. We had a chance to look at that. The move is king to d4. So for some reason, we had to throw in this move first before we went for this king to d4 opposition. Okay, black says, I'm just going to wait and see what are you going to do. They play bishop to b7. White to play and win. What do you think we should play? Again, it's one of those moments where it's kind of like, I don't know. All right, bishop f1. We're kind of wasting a move, I guess, is what we're doing. Because we need the bishop to be here before we follow through with king to d5. All right, so that kind of makes sense because you couldn't go there when the bishop was there. So you're just doing a waiting move, forcing black to go back. We can bring our king up. Okay, I think I can understand that one. Check. And I'm kind of just showing you guys this because I'm not going to ask you to solve a puzzle that I can't even understand. I don't think that really makes sense. But I do want you to see this solution because the end is pretty cool. All right, so king to d6. We're bringing the king up. Black's trying to bring the king over. Again, we get a moment where there's only one correct move. What do you guys think it is? Get a chance to look at that. It's king to c5. Okay, so we see this again where we get the opposition here, kind of boxing out the king, using our bishop to help. Okay, great. So black doesn't have a lot of options. They have to go here. And now we play king c6. And this is interesting because what we're doing with our king is actually trying to invade. And you're going to see why that's important in just a minute. So the bishop, remember, has to stay guarding this. If the king leaves, well, then we can kind of come around this way, which looks pretty good for us. So black decides just move the bishop instead. But by going off of this diagonal, they also allow us to come in with our king this way. Okay, great. But we still haven't solved the problem because we can't go there. They just take it, right? Okay, keep going. They waste a move. What should we play now as white? You had a chance to look at that. The move is king to b8. And what we're doing is actually making a pathway for our bishop to try to get this bishop off of these diagonals. Not an easy task, but if we can accomplish that, then of course we could be able to, push the pawn and get a queen if we do it at the right moment in the right way. Okay, very, very difficult, but let's keep going. So black says, all right, I'm going to take this opportunity to bring my king forward. I mean, why not? And now we go bishop to g2. Black waits to move, and we go bishop to b7. Okay, now you can see the idea. All this maneuvering was to get our king down here, get our bishop to be able to chase this guy away. And what I think is happening, and I'm not smart enough to quite understand, but what I think is happening is all those only winning moves what had to do with like getting our king in at the right moment without it getting boxed out. And I think that if we didn't do it that way, maybe it got boxed out somehow by black's king or something like that. Anyway, black goes here. And now what do we play? White to play and win. You had a chance to look at that. Just like I said, we're trying to get here to get that bishop off of that diagonal. Of course, if they trade, we're happy because our king's in a great position. We would win. Let me just show you that. Black's king can't really do anything about this, right? We're going to get a queen. So Black says, okay, fine. I'll just move over here. And when we move away, they're going to come in this way and stop the pawn this way. And if we come here, they're going to come back this way. So Black has a very clear plan here of, you know, they're going to stop the pawn one way or another. So how do we fix this? What do we do? We had a chance to look at that. The move is bishop to g4. So we've taken away this diagonal from the bishop, right? We're threatening to get the queen. So Black's move is forced here. Have to go to a6 to stop it. And now it's white to play and win. What do we play now? You had a chance to look at that. The move is bishop to f3. And this one is hard to see why, but you'll see in just a second. So bishop to f3, okay? And Black, of course, is running out of options because they have to continue to guard this. They can't go here because we just take them. They don't want to go here because we just take their bishop. So what do they have to do? They have to do a king move. And the king can't move up, and it can't move here because of our bishop, so the king has to just move away. And now it allows us to play a fascinating move. White to play and win. All right, well, if you had a chance to look at that, here is the mind-blowing moment of the puzzle. Bishop to e2. What? What are we doing here? Well, basically, Black is going to just leave the bishop sit there, right? Like, if we just try to wait, they're just going to say, fine, and move their king back and forth forever. And just leave it there. If we try to attack it with our king, well, they're going to say, okay, I'll just come over here and repeat this dance over and over again. So bishop to e2 is forcing the bishop away from that square. But it can't go anywhere because we've trapped it with our king. And yes, they could take us, but who cares? We get the queen and we win. It's going to be a winning endgame. And there's nothing else for Black to do. So all that maneuvering was to get our king in this right position and our bishop to actually trap Black's bishop over here, and it doesn't have a way to stop the pawn. Fascinating stuff. Now, what's really interesting, too, is if we go all the way back, way back, let me see if I can find the moment. Earlier, when we played bishop to e2, I mentioned that Black had two options, and we just looked at bishop c8. They could have also played bishop to b7. If they played bishop to b7, you get similar idea, but a different line. And so I'm not going to walk you through all of it. I'm just going to show you quickly. We bring the king up on this one, kind of in a similar fashion. We get the same sort of opposition deal here. But then watch what happens at the end of this. Bring the king in. We've seen this before, right? We bring our bishop around. We've seen this before, right? But because of the different placement of the pieces, the way that you actually win this is different. You go here. Bishop comes into b7. Notice how it's slightly different here. And is this the moment? Yeah, this is the moment. Sorry, I spoiled it. White to play and win. Bishop to b5 is the only move. What? But again, it's going back to trapping this bishop from not being able to stay on the diagonal that it needs to stay on. If they take us, we take them. And if they try to like just go here to waste a move, we obviously take it. They don't have any other wasted moves with their king because they can't go here or here to defend. It's incredible, right? And it's a totally different line to win the game, just based on whether or not the bishop went to b7 or c8. So I hope you guys can understand like why my brain was hurting, why I'm not entirely even sure myself, like on all of the nuances there, but cool position nonetheless. Basically trapping the bishop along the diagonals to where it doesn't have any move. I mean, it just goes to show you like how incredibly complex even simple endgame positions can be, right? There's so much going on there. All of those only moves. It's just like, man, chess is so crazy. And so I hope you guys can appreciate that. I hope that was fun. And let me know, if you understand something about this, maybe that I wasn't quite getting, maybe you can let me know in the comments. But I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to check out the new channel, Chess Vibes. I'll put a link in the description if you want to. It's kind of embarrassing, but if you want to see me attempt to work out. I haven't worked out in like years, and I'm trying to get back into the fitness. Anyway, see you guys next time. Take care.